let's start with softball. Because if you're kind of looking for uncertainty in Oklahoma softball as they come into the 2026 season, you're probably looking in the wrong place. Because by any reasonable standard, the Sooners are starting this season really from a position of strength. 52 wins last year, a defense that ranked among the most efficient and reliable units in the country, a roster that returns not just experience but familiarity. You got players who know each other's tendencies, communication patterns, and expectations. You got 15 players on this roster that have been to the Women's College World Series, and all of it is still guided by Patty Gasso, whose fingerprints are unmistakable on everything that this program does. But here's the thing. Oklahoma's story in 2026, it's not about standing still. It's about staying sharp. What defines this team is not that things stayed the same. It's that they stayed the same while still evolving. And nowhere is that more evident than on the defensive side of the ball. You know, continuity, kind of a buzzword across college softball, college athletics in general. But in Norman, it carries a different edge. This isn't comfort. This isn't complacency. This is refinement. Oklahoma is not rebuilding its defensive identity. It's tuning it. It's sharpening it. It's making something elite even more precise. And that distinction matters because defense, quiet and repeatable and often overlooked, it remains the connective tissue holding Oklahoma's championship aspirations together. And so let's start examining this where every great defense starts, which is right up the middle. Second base remains the heartbeat of this unit, and Elena Agbayani enters her senior season as more than just a standout player. She's the emotional anchor here. She's the traffic controller. She's the one setting the tempo when the game kind of speeds up. Gold Glove winner, 989 fielding percentage. Those numbers kind of tell part of the story, but Agbayani's true value is in what doesn't show up in a box score. Like, she manages positioning. She anticipates sequences. She communicates constantly before the pitch, after the pitch, during the chaos. And that leadership paid off in a big way last season. Oklahoma turned a nation-leading 89 double plays in 2025. That doesn't happen by accident. That happens because of chemistry, trust, and instinct. It happens because the middle infield knows exactly where the ball is going before it gets there. To the left of Agbayani, you got Gabby Garcia. She continues to solidify herself as the kind of shortstop this program demands. She played the position in 2025 with the calm of a veteran. Just 4 errors in 177 chances. And at Oklahoma, shortstop isn't just about range and arm strength. It's about command. It's about being steady when everything else is moving fast. And Garcia has that command. And her growth accelerated the stability of the entire infield. Then there's third base, where Nelly McEnroe-Morenas brings physicality, confidence, and edge. This is one of the most demanding positions in the Patty Gasso system. You're charging bunts. You're reacting to rockets that are just coming straight down the line. You're throwing on the run across the diamond. And Oklahoma doesn't ask its third baseman just to survive all of that. They'd ask the third baseman to attack. McEnroe-Morenas embraces that responsibility. Her fielding percentage doesn't fully capture the difficulty of the plays that she's asked to make, but her presence changes how aggressive Oklahoma can be on the corners. Speaking of the corners, let's talk about first base, because I think this is where continuity and evolution intersect in a meaningful way. You've got to, on paper, you've got a vacancy there. But rather than entering 2026 with questions at first, I think Oklahoma appears poised to kind of turn the position into a strength. I think there's more than a good chance that Cassidy Pickering kind of moves into first base, not as a fallback, but as an upgrade at this position. Pickering's athleticism, soft hands, spatial awareness, they translate seamlessly into this position. Her background in the outfield gives her an advantage most first basemen don't have. And she handles errant throws, difficult hops, awkward angles, all of that with ease. So she's still, she's going to steal some outs quietly. The kind of outs that don't show up in the stat sheet, but are absolutely the ones that can win games. And just as importantly, moving Pickering inside, it creates ripple effects across the entire defense. It allows Oklahoma to maximize speed and coverage elsewhere. One calculated move strengthens multiple areas at once. And that's going to bring us to the outfield. This is where things get really interesting. If you move Pickering, right, potentially having her anchoring first base, Oklahoma's outfield alignment, it comes into focus, and it may be one of the fastest, most aggressive groups in the country. I think center field is going to belong to Kia Minor, both in projection and in logic. The number one recruit in the 2025 class, 5-tool talent whose speed and first step immediately change how much ground Oklahoma can cover. Minor doesn't just chase balls, she erases the gaps that are supposed to be there. Her presence allows Oklahoma to play a little bit more shallow, to challenge hitters, to turn what, could be double plays into routine outs. So she's got that kind of range that changes defensive posture entirely. Then on the corners of the outfield, reliability, balances, explosiveness. I think Abby Dayton slides naturally into left field where her instincts, she was flawless last year. A perfect fielding percentage. They provide a calmness there. And Dayton doesn't do anything flashy, okay? She makes every play she's supposed to make. Efficient, routine, strong communication, zero panic. And then to the right side, you've got Sid Barker. Again, versatility. Once again, she can prove to be an invaluable part of this outfield. Strong arm, steady glove. Those make her a natural fit in right field, but really her ability to move around the diamond, like Pickering, it gives Patty Gasso flexibility without sacrificing defensive integrity. And that's going to kind of bring us to the bigger picture here. I think what separates Oklahoma from most of the country isn't just defensive talent, but it's defensive philosophy. Under Gasso, versatility is proactive, not reactive. Players are trained across positions from the moment they arrive on campus. Infielders learn outfield reads. Outfielders learn corner footwork. Pitchers are expected to field like infielders. No one is exempt. This isn't about surviving lineup changes. It's about thriving through them. And Gasso even said it herself. Her exact quote was, "We have so many options. We can make 10 different lineup models and feel very comfortable with them." So that comfort, it's not accidental. It is institutional. Oklahoma doesn't build lineups around positions. It builds positions around competitors. And the benefits show up most clearly in high stress moments, right? You got the, first and third base chaos, delayed steals, squeeze plays. While other teams may scramble for those, Oklahoma just kind of responds automatically, often deploying multiple rehearsed defensive counters to those. So versatility turns complexity into routine. So you've got a defense here with Oklahoma that doesn't just sit back. I mean, they attack. Gasso's emphasis on unconventional throws, sidearm, on the run, off the wrong foot. She does that and she prioritizes urgency over aesthetics. Get the lead out type thing, always. That mindset fuels elite double play efficiency. It's why they lead the country. It fuels an uncanny ability to escape jams without surrendering momentum. And obviously, defense feeds pitching, right? When the team trusts its range, pitchers attack the zone. They don't just nibble at it. They put the ball in play because that's not feared. It's welcomed with this defense. Confidence becomes a competitive weapon. So players who know that they can handle multiple roles. They don't flinch when pressure spikes. Mistakes don't spiral. Adjustments don't feel disruptive. At Oklahoma, versatility isn't punishment. It is empowerment. So when you look at all this, we got to ask, why does this matter for 2026? Because the SEC, it doesn't reward you for being rigid. What it does is it punishes you for being rigid. I mean, Weekend Series, they grind bodies down. Opponents can exploit weaknesses relentlessly. Programs that survive are the ones that adapt without losing identity. Oklahoma's advantage is that adaptability is its identity. So the Sooners open 2026 with an experienced middle infield, a veteran at third base, an athletic first base solution, and an outfield that's built around speed and coverage. So they return trust. They return clarity. They return a system that already works. This isn't a defense searching for answers. This is a defense that is sharpening around the edges. And when the margins shrink, when championships hinge on one clean exchange, one perfect route, one perfect cycle, one unconventional throw, Oklahoma's going to once again rely on what it trusts the most: continuity, preparation, defensive versatility that turns pressure into opportunity. Because at Oklahoma, evolution doesn't disrupt the standard, it reinforces it. And I think that's where your 2026 title push is going to start.